My name is Phil Wilt. I was in the 8th grade at the time of the earthquake in 1937. I was in the process of changing classes, and I was on my way into the study hall when I arrived at my desk. Suddenly there was a terrific shaking, and the girls around me, and I believe it was Betty Ailes and Dorothy Sieving, let out a shriek, and the northeast corner of the study hall cracked and appeared that it would fall away. You could see light coming in through the cracks. The bookcases down on the west end of the study hall unloaded all the books, and we were immediately told to go to the hallways and to slowly exit the building, which we did. Later in the day, my dad, being on the school board, men came from Columbus to the building inspectors, and I tagged along as they walked through the building, taking note of the damage here and there. And when they had completed their tour, and as they stood on the sidewalk outside the school, they determined that the school was no longer could be used for classes. And so quickly the community pulled together. Reverend Mittermeier came forward offering the use of the Lutheran Church for classes, and the Methodist Church quickly followed. And by the following Monday, books and equipment had been moved into the churches, and we started school. We completed one day of school. That night we were shaken from our beds with the second earthquake. And I can recall we lived above the store at the time, and we immediately went down into the store as we could hear merchandise falling off the shelves and so forth. And Ruth McVeigh Ailes lived across the street at the time. She came running across into the store and seeking someone to be around to relieve some of the fear that she was feeling. Then again, there was a quick response by the school board led by Dr. Millett, and they came up with the idea of using one room in the homes along Main Street, and Dr. Millett's office became the office for the superintendent of the school, Mr. Rilling, and within another week we were attending classes. They had strung a wire up and down the streets for the intercom, and the bells rang, and everything went along just as though we were inside a big building, only now we were out on the street between classes as we exchanged rooms. We completed that year in the homes. In the meantime, during the summer, there were vacant CCC barracks down in Sydney that were not being used, and the government was approached about it, and they allowed them to move so many of the barracks up to the Ball Diamond and set them up. And of course, this is where we spent another whole year then in the barracks. And many of the pictures that are in the film that you'll see along with this presentation lost my thought.
That's okay, you're talking about the barracks.
Oh, okay. And so we completed that year, and then by the end of that year the new building was completed, and I started off in the new building as a sophomore and completed my high school education there, and graduated in 1941 with 33 members in my class.
my name was Gertrude Rodak. I was in Anna teaching home economics, health, biology, and at the time that this earthquake took place. It was in the basement. They always had the home economics in the basement, and the girls were knitting, and all at once I heard a thump, and we were below below the auditorium, and I thought the boys or someone had pushed the piano off the stage because of that thump. But right away there was a rumble, like a train was going through Anna. And I guess that was the earthquake, the bricks bumping together, I guess, from the school. Now what else do you want me to do?
What did the,
Oh, the girls, everybody jumped up and started out of the room because of the noise, and the Ann Scroll girls said earthquake, and earthquake was she thought it was earthquake, and they got out of the school so fast, faster than they ever did on any fire drill. Now what?
okay, and what do you remember about the building? You told me that you thought you saw some
Oh.
cracks.
We went back. They allowed the teachers to go back in and look, and I could see that the corner of the building from the stage up, or from the in that corner of the building, it was cracked, and you could see out. You could see out of it. You could see out of the building. So it was damaged beyond, I guess, beyond repair because of the location, I think, of the auditorium being a big space, and the stage that cracked that wall up.
Okay, and then the next week you started in the churches for one day. You were in the
Yes,
church.
one
Do you
day.
remember that?
Yes, and that earthquake was at night, and I remember the bed really shaking.
You lived in Anna at that time.
Yeah, I lived in Anna, and Mrs. Shoes boarded there, and I don't remember that I don't think anybody got up I don't remember getting out of bed or anything that I got scared. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that big of a quake or a shake, and but it damaged the churches then.
And so then,
So then we went into they had a meeting, I guess, and where they were going to go, and we went into the houses, and different people donated their front rooms for the school, for the classes.
okay, and the high school met on Main Street, as I
Yes, on
understand.
the Main Street,
Mhm.
yes. I don't know how many houses was involved, I don't remember that.
And then, what did, just off the record, what did you do during the summer then, before you started teaching again in the fall in the barracks? Do you remember? Did you work somewhere, or did you?
Yes, I think at that time, the reason I went from Wittenberg College to Athens, to High U, is because I got into the home economics, and at that time they had a program for the rural people, and for the rural girls, something kind of like a 4-H club thing.
Okay.
But these were to teach how to cook and how to sew and how to do housework and how to do management of a house, money and all that stuff, all that kind of thing. And that's what I did during the summer. That's the reason I changed school and went to a high U, because it was a state school and it was a state program.
Okay.
Yes.
And then school started, and by that time they had pulled the barracks up from Sydney.
Yes, and the
Now,
barracks.
give me some of the things you remember about the barracks and how it was during the winter time and things like that.
Yes, it was. It wasn't too real warm in those barracks. You had to wear plenty of clothes. I remember that. And but it was warm with those big stoves.
Was it
Yeah.
hard to teach the kids in those barracks?
Well, I don't remember that I had too much trouble with the teaching, and the students were well behaved. They were at those days. Children were more obedient than they are, I think. And no, I don't remember that I had any trouble with it. But one thing we did do, that I took the 7th and 8th grade boys, because they were at that age, they were a little rowdy, and we made candy, and we cooked, and they loved it.
Well, I'll bet that's things they'll remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just remembered that they had so much fun. They were good because they were doing something. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else that you remember from that time?
No, I'm not-
And then you would walk back and forth from your home to school every day.
Oh yes, it wasn't that far. It wasn't that far.
And were you engaged at this time?
Yes, I think it was.
And who were you engaged
I
to?
was in romance anyways.
Okay, who are you engaged to?
Orrin Harlemert.
Orrin.
That was Glenna Harlemert's brother.
Okay. And he lived in,
He lived in Ketterville.
okay.
Yes.
Good, and you were telling me a little bit about that too. Was it later on after you were married that you had a business?
Oh, well, we lived with his folks for a while.
On the farm, or was?
No, they had a home in Ketterville.
Okay.
And then we got a house in Botkins, and we stayed there till the summer, I guess. Then we moved back to Ketterville and rented from a lady.
Okay, and that was not this year, but it was the following the barracks. Yes, okay, right.
Following year.
In May 30th, 1938, I think you said, was when you were married.
Yes.
Okay, good. That was right after the barracks were not being used anymore and school was out, and you went on from there.
Yes.
It's been delightful talking with you. Is there anything else you could
Now
remember?
I'm talking above the camera.
That's
Is
okay.
that all right?
You look right at me, we're getting you.
Huh?
Yeah, you're looking right at me and you're doing fine.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Anything else you need to remember about Anna, about the people in Anna? Did you get to be friends with people in town, or just at Kettlersville, or how about the teachers that were there?
Oh, yes, I was friends with the teacher, Miss Ira, and Glenna, and all the other teachers that were there, yes. They were close-knit